So Mrs. M told me that you guys have been learning about American symbols. Now, just a review, a symbol is a picture or thing that stands for something else. For example, look at this heart on your screen. What immediately comes to your mind? What does it stand for? I bet you all said love. Usually a heart represents loving something. Now, today we're going to learn about another American symbol. Can anybody take a guess? No, we're not going to learn just about a regular ordinary bell. In fact, we're actually going to learn about the famous bell called the Liberty Bell. What's really cool and special about the Liberty Bell is the fact that it's located not far from us. It's only in Philadelphia. It's just a short drive. Hopefully, maybe after quarantine, you all can visit it if you haven't already. Now, before we actually explore this page, I want us to read a book called Can We Ring the Liberty Bell by Martha E.H. Rusted. Chapter 1, A Visit to the Liberty Bell. Today is a field trip day. Our teacher says, we are going to see a famous American symbol. Melissa says, my big brother plays the cymbals in band. Mr. Chen smiles. Not the instrument. Here, the word symbol means something that stands for something else. Like a heart means love, says Amira. Yes, says Mr. Chen. Can anyone name a symbol of America? The flag, says Benjamin. The bald eagle, says Simon. Good thinking, our teacher says. Today, we are going to see the Liberty Bell. Liberty is another word for freedom. The Liberty Bell hangs in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A copy of the Liberty Bell hangs in every U.S. state. Most states keep their bell in or near the state capitol building. We ride the bus to Independence National Historic Park. Ranger Marcella meets us outside the Liberty Bell Center. Welcome, she says. I have a riddle for you. The Liberty Bell doesn't make a sound. So how can we help it ring? Shake it, asks Thomas. No, we can't shake it, answers Ranger Marcella. Then I have no idea, says Lila. Keep thinking about my riddle. I'll tell you more about the bell, our guide says. If you want to visit the Liberty Bell, you'll have to spit out your gum and candy. Sticky foods are not allowed near the bell. A bell to share the news. Look behind me, Ranger Marcella says. During the 1700s, that building was called the Pennsylvania State House. We learned the people in Pennsylvania government worked in the State House. Ranger Marcella says, let's talk about communication. How do we learn news today? Watch TV, says Ryan. Mr. Chen says, I check my phone. Listen to the radio, Sylvia says. Our guide asks, did people have phones, radios, or TVs in the 1700s? No, we all say. We learn that bells rang to tell people there was news. Then people went to the State House to find out what was happening. It took 19 years to build the Pennsylvania State House. That's because the government kept running out of money to pay workers to build it. We follow our guide into the museum inside the Liberty Bell Center. She tells us that the State House needed a new bell in 1751. Workers in England made a bell that year. Ranger Marcella says it arrived in Pennsylvania in 1752, but it cracked the first time it was rung. It cracked right away, says Jaden. Yes, it was too brittle. So workers here melted the bell down. They made a new bell with the metal, she tells us. It was hung in the State House. The Liberty Bell is made mostly of copper. like a penny. Does anybody know or remember, what other American symbol was made of copper? It also contains tin, lead, zinc, arsenic, gold, and silver. We walk through the museum. When the bell was made, Pennsylvania was part of Great Britain, Ranger Marcella says. Many people living in America wanted their own country. They wanted to be free to make their own laws. We learn that our country's founders signed two important papers in the State House. The Declaration of Independence said America wanted to be its own country. It was signed in 1776. The Constitution is a set of rules for our government. It was signed in 1787. Ranger Marcella adds, because these papers were signed in the State House, today it is called Independence Hall. Take a look at the X-ray, Ranger Marcella says. It shows what happened to the bell in 1846. I had an X-ray when I broke my arm, says Zach. We all look at the big X-ray of the bell. We can see a crack. The bell cracked and broke when it rang for George Washington's birthday. Does anybody know who that was? Yes, he was our first president, answers Delia. Correct, he died in 1799. We still remember his birthday. Our guide says, the bell rang for the last time on that day in 1846. So my second grade friends, here's a diagram of a bell, particularly the Liberty Bell. The top is the yoke. The bell itself is this curved shape. And then inside, in order to make a bell work, we have the clapper, which is basically like a metal pin that hits the bell to make the noise. No one knows for sure why the bell cracked. It may have been rung too much for too many years. Tiny cracks had appeared before, but people were still able to ring it. After the big crack formed, the bell could not be rung again. A symbol of liberty. At last we see the bell. Why do we call it the Liberty Bell? Asks Mr. Chen. Good question, Ranger Marcella says. Look closely at the top. I see the word liberty right here, says Nicholas. Yes, our guide says. It says proclaim liberty. Proclaim means to tell everyone about something. So proclaim liberty means to tell everyone about freedom. We learn that people began calling the bell the Liberty Bell in the 1830s. Ringing for freedom. Can we ring the Liberty Bell? Asks Diana. Sorry, says Ranger Marcella. Remember, the Liberty Bell is broken. It doesn't ring anymore. Mia says, but your riddle said we can help it ring. How can we ring a bell that doesn't work anymore? Ranger Marcella says, we ring the bell by being fair to everyone. We make sure everyone has freedom. Did you know that the Liberty Bell weighs 2,080 pounds or 943 kilograms? That is as much as 260 gallons of milk. It is almost 4 feet wide and 3 feet tall. Our field trip is almost over. What do we say to our guide? Mr. Chen asks. Thank you, Ranger Marcella, we say together. Back at school, we hear the bell ring at the end of the day. That bell rings for your freedom from school, our teacher jokes. We all run around the playground. It's good to be free. Every year, relatives of the country's founders tap the Liberty Bell on July 4th. People also tap the bell in January on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. They do this to honor King's work for freedom for all people. So, crew, we just learned about the Liberty Bell. It's located in Philadelphia, and a very long time ago, Philadelphia was our nation's capital. It's crazy to think that we can't ring this bell anymore. But remember, the purpose for this, or the symbol for this bell, is that it means freedom. What I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm going to ask you to stop the video and go to the student template in Seesaw. You'll be able to find the questions that you're going to answer based on what you learned. Feel free to look at this picture or go back to the story to find the answers.